So, I want to share a testimony and a story with you guys about a dream that I had that came true the very next day. So, I dreamed that I was going to be invited to a meeting with two men. Well, actually, there was three men in the meeting, but two men had invited me to the meeting because they wanted to get my advice on a project, a development project where they were going to be building an entire neighborhood or community, and they wanted to provide, they wanted the houses to sell, they wanted it to be successful, but they needed my advice. So I was in the meeting, and I remember just passionately standing on the chair and yelling, you need to build these houses for the community. You need to build them affordable. You need to not be greedy. This is not about you. This is about the people. And I had very specific things that I instructed them to do if they wanted to be successful. Well, when I woke up from the dream, it was such like a one of those dreams that you're like, what is this like, how is this possible, that I had a dream with such detail and such specifics, like I was giving them a strategy in the dream. The very next day, I wrote it down, when I woke up, and then I asked someone in my family as I was with them. I said, listen to this dream I had, do you think that it will actually come true? Because lately many of my dreams have been coming true, um, either the next day that I dream it, or soon after I dream it, it comes true. So she said, yes, based on the previous dreams you had, I do think that this is going to come true. Well, I'm glad she said that because I began to pray over the dream and just prepare myself for the meeting with the men to talk about a housing community. So I had the dream on a Thursday morning. On a Friday morning, I received an email, um, to ask me if I could come to a meeting in 1 hour. I was already on my way to an appointment with the client, and as I'm driving there, I received an email that said, Can you meet me in an hour? Because I want to talk. I want you to come in and talk to some people about building 300 houses." This was the very next day. I knew what it was about before I even received the email. Before I even opened the email, I already knew what the email was going to say. It was like something dropped in my spirit and said, "This is the dream. This is the dream that you had." So when I read the email, I already knew what it was going to say. It was going to say, "These people want to build a housing community and they need some advice." So then I go to the meeting, I show up. As soon as I walked in, it was exactly as I dreamed it. It was two men that wanted to meet with me, and it was the third man who was the one who invited me to come. And I was sitting by the man who invited me, like I was in the dream. And the other two men were sitting across the table listening to my advice. And as I'm advising them, everything that they wanted to talk about was everything that I had already been shown in the dream to say, to stand up for the people, to fight for the community, to give them the instructions that they needed to move them in the right direction so that the people would benefit from the development, and it wouldn't just be the rich getting richer. It would be the people partaking in the wealth and the development. And so one of the things that they wanted to talk about was social services, and they wanted to talk about giving money to the community, giving money to people to build, job training, to give them certifications. They wanted to talk about, um, giving money to nonprofits and giving money to entrepreneurs and influencers in the community to build their businesses and giving them office spaces. And then, aside from that, they wanted to talk about building actual housing developments. Now, mind you, I have no idea why I was invited to this meeting. I have no idea why the person who invited me, of all the people in the world, thought to invite me to come to the meeting and for them to ask me for advice. But as you know, I have built a company called Kingdom Legacy, And over the last, that was since October when God gave me that vision. God has given me the complete strategy for everything that they wanted to do before they asked me the question. Every question they asked, I had an answer for. Not because I'm that smart, but because the Lord had already been speaking to me and like speaking to me when I'm awake and speaking to me in dreams, telling me his plan, what he wants to happen. And the only missing piece in my mind was the money. Like, okay, now I know what you want to do. How are we going to do it? Well, these people that wanted to meet with me represented a consortium of banks, and they have all the money to do this. They don't have a strategy and they don't have the person that they need to do it. They don't have the people, the teams, but they have the money. So it's like we have opposite problems. I have the vision, they have the money. And that's why God brought me into the room because He had been preparing that to happen all along. So I'm telling you this really because I want to share with you about prophetic dreaming because now is a period of time where not just me, but many people are receiving visions and dreams, and you're getting like revelation and you're getting information. And a lot of times, if you're not paying attention, you'll just um, ignore it. You'll just like wake up and say, that was a crazy dream. What was that about? And you won't realize that you're supposed to write it down and that you're supposed to pray over it. If you dream about like somebody else or like a secret that you're not supposed to know about somebody, and you'll just brush it off as just like a crazy dream. But I'm saying all this to say, pay attention and write it down because the dream that I had was actually instructions. It was instructions for me to do well when I got called into the meeting. I already had a piece. I mean, I'm meeting with people who represent billions of dollars, and I had no fear. Literally, I had 1 hour notice, no time to prepare, no time to Google or do a strategy. I literally had nothing but the instructions given to me in a dream. And that's why I say pay attention because it's not just for me, it's going to begin to happen. The Bible says in the last days, the Lord will pour out his spirit on all men, and they will begin to prophesy and dream dreams and see visions. And I just want you to be aware that if this is something that you want, um, begin to ask God to give you dreams and visions, to open up your mind, because at night is the time when He can speak to you, when you're not so doubtful, or you're not going to question everything that God says, or you're not going to be so busy that you don't even hear Him. But at night, when you're sleeping, He can get 100% of your attention, and you can't do anything but receive. So I hope this encourages somebody. This is my testimony. This just happened this past Friday. And, everything that you see me do over the next year or the next 10 years, I want you to know that it was the hand of God on my life. It was His grace. It was not because I'm qualified. It's not because I'm educated enough. It's not because, I have a lot of money. Like, it has nothing to do with any of those things. It is all because God chose me and because I listened to His voice and I obeyed. And I want the same thing for you.